Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to another time out here. Welcome to a book club. So glad you made it. So glad you. Right, great. I believe you can see my slides here. So again, that's a book. So let's go into the core of what we have to read today, which is chapter 8 of our book. And the title of the chapter is Keep Your Circle Tight. And when we talk about circle here, we're talking about your friends, your associate, right? People that are closest to you. And you'll hear we've been using two words so far. Your tribe, your team, right? And talking about the fact that you need your team, you need your tribe to be able to do all the things that you're saddled with in this life to be successful, right? We all only have 24 hours and limited abilities and talents and skills, but yet what we need to do require much more than we have. So we do that through others. We do that either through people we employ and pay to do it, or through our friends, our connections, we're able to use people to get things done because we can't do everything, right? Like I get to use example from my farm all through this, right? I'm seated here, my farm is in Ibadan environment, but things are getting done, things are moving, right? Without me being there. That's because my money is making things happen. I'm paying people salaries and wages to get things done on my behalf. As it's where I'm buying into their time. I'm buying their time to get things done while I use my 24 hours to do other things, right? Which generates the money that I use to buy other people's time, So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So when we talk about then getting your friends, your tribe right, such that you have a minimum of people that are interference or seemingly debt that need to be sieved off, from it. It's an ever continuous process, right? You think some people are your friends, and you later find out they're not, or they are friends for a reason, a season, for people come for different purpose and intent and duration in your life. And there are those that are there for life, So they all come and sift off, depending on who they are, why they came, So the first thing we'll look at here is know who you are, right? And know who your friends are, right? The only way you're going to truly be able to know your friends, obviously, is first of all, know who you are, because who you are will determine who your friends can be and how and will be, right? Because it's all about working together. There's a popular verse of scripture that talks about, can two work together except they be agreed? An agreement means that there is a commonality and overlapping of the persons, right? If there's no overlapping and all you're doing is staying on the outside, you're going to give up. It takes there to be an overlapping. There must be some interest, whether it is innate or it is generated. There has to be an overlap of interest, right, for you to work together with someone else. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time, right? There has to be a commonality somewhere. Well, that commonality then will determine how close or not your relationship might be, right? And also the commitment that goes with it, right? So I love this popular quote here by Sun Tzu in his book, The Heart of War. Even though it's used in terms of enemies, but it also applies in terms of friends. It says that if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Let's put that into context of what we're discussing. If you know the friend, you know the person, right, and know yourself, right, you need not fear the result of 100 engagements. Right? When you know yourself, then you know how to relate with someone else. You know how to engage with someone else. You know yourself, you know the person. You know how to engage rightly with the other person, right? Because first you know yourself, then you know the person, then you know which part of you engages with that person. right? You don't waste your time. You don't shoot darts everywhere. Your bullseye in your darts in your relationship. There are those you can spend social quality time with. There are those that are not for quality time. There are those that are just good enough for hi every now and then. And when you know yourself, you know what you need, what your life entails, that you know how to where the overlaps is, and know then where to put your energy and not waste your energy, right, and relating with someone else, right? And the other part of a quote goes that wise, because if you don't, the second sentence there says, if you know yourself but you don't know the potential friend, right, then for every victory gained, you will also suffer defeat. If you don't know the person you're trying to relate with, then you are not able to, maybe once in a while you hit it, maybe it's once in a while you miss it. Kind of reminds me of someone I was trying to get into a relationship with, right? Now this is now like 37 years ago, or 37 years ago, yes. And I probably didn't know myself that much, right? 37 years ago, you can imagine how old I was, back then I had from 56, and I was going, right? I didn't know myself, and I didn't know the person I was trying to be in a relationship with. All I just knew was that there was something clicking and I wanted to make it work. Obviously, I wasn't good at that. It didn't work, right? For whatever reason, I put in all I could in 11 years, but in 11 years also, I wasn't matured. So I didn't necessarily do all the right things. Maybe the person also I was trying to click with also probably was expecting a more matured person than I was. I wasn't, right? And no, but I was sincere. I was a Christian. I had a good heart, right? It wasn't for the intent of using her in any way. I had opportunities, to do that, but that was not my intent. I loved and feared God, even though I was a dunce, I was immature, right, in the area of relationship. But such is why I can stand boldly in this office of a relationship coach today, because when I do that, I am not doing something I have not felt, something I have not touched before, right? It's something I've touched. It's a pain that I've been through. So it's easy for me then to help other people that are in the place that I used to be, right? I'm qualified to be a relationship coach because of where I have been, right? When I coach, when I teach, I'm teaching out of experience, not just what I read in a book, right? My heart has been hurt. My heart has been broken, right? My emotions have been torn apart, right? So I have been there, right? I've been there. That's why I can be a relationship coach today. That's why I can be a therapist today, because I've been there, right? And I'm no more in the pit. I'm now on the mountaintop by the grace of God. And I can tell other people how I came out from a valley, how I came out from the pit, and how I got to stand on the rock, in the area of relationship. But then you say, when you don't know yourself, you don't know the other person, you're going to have issues relating, right? And if you know yourself and you don't know the other person, there's going to be issues. The perfect relationship is that place where you know yourself and you know the person you're trying to relate with, and then you can engage outright or disengage outright, So let's move on to the next slide here. So there will always be some degree of bad energy around you, because you don't necessarily control the people that are coming around you. You don't necessarily control the bed that's flying over your head, but then you control whether you're going to stay in a place where it can pull on your head or not. You can move. You're not a tree. It can drive the bed away if it's producing a toxic environment, right? You can control the things that will come around you, or you can control the ones that would stay, or the ones you will permit in your vicinity, right? So you can move, right? That's a key word. You can move, right? You're not at the mercy of negative energy.